to be Division I, you have to have a determination. You have to have a drive. You have to eat right. You have to go to bed early. You have to study the sport. And it's not just what you do in practice, it's what you do between practices. And also what's important, you have to make sure your grades are up so you're eligible to compete. So I think the advantage that you might have had, except for, take away natural ability, is your drive and your dedication to the sport between practices. It's the same thing that made you a Division I athlete is what made you an All-American, is what you did between practices, is the fact that you could coach yourself and you could motivate yourself. Because like I said, there's All-Americans who are walking the street standing right next to you, but they didn't have the drive, they didn't have the determination, and they didn't have the, I'm not going to say insight, but they didn't have the motivation to work harder and to know when they walk on the track that everybody there is trying to beat them. Track and field, like any other sport, is a lot of mental. You got to have mental toughness in order to get to that next level. I remember my coach saying to us, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. If you're injured, you shouldn't play, and you have to recover and you have to heal and do what physical therapy or whatever the case is. But you are going to be hurt, and you're going to be hurt. You're going to have to fight through injuries. You're going to have to fight through hurt, because there's always going to be the ups and downs of athletics, and getting hurt, whether it's a minor strain or bumps and bruises, is going to happen. Those things you have to fight through because they're going to happen. They happen to everybody. I believe that the first thing that a student athlete should be is a student. And then if you want to get them strength coaches and running coaches, you need to get them math and science and tutor coaches, because they need to be able to absorb the rigor of the academics in college. It's much different from high school than it is from college. So the first thing I would tell them is to make sure their academics are strong. The second thing I would make sure they know is how to lose, because you're going to go from being the number one kid on campus to being everybody on your team was the number one kid in high school. Everybody on your team is going to have been all state. Everybody on your team is going to have been big man on campus. So you have to have resiliency, and you have to have that toughness to know that you're not going to win every meet. You're not going to be the fastest on the team right away. So that toughness is what you really have to instill in them. But I think the most important thing for a high school athlete going to college is to know everybody to your left and right was just as good as you in high school.